Welcome back to the Perky Collar Radio Show. Today my guest is Leigh Aberle, and she's the founder of Family First Travel Nannies.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. So as you all know, my first question is always, what made you start a nanny company?
Sure. So I have been a nanny for 13 plus years.
Okay.
And I had an experience with a nanny agency. I went through my first nanny agency, it feels like 10 years ago. But I didn't have the best experience. I really feel like when they placed me, it was wonderful because they set me up with this great job. I thought I had this great family, and they were a great family, but they were not educated on how to care for me properly, and I didn't have the knowledge or tools to communicate what I needed either. So I didn't know I could be a W-2 employee, that I should be paid on the books, which we should know that, but I mean, it was 21, so. Right. Nannies can have benefits, paid vacation, paid holidays, they can have health care. I didn't know any of this. Mm-hmm. I was well underpaid what most nannies should be paid. In Charlotte's about 15 to 25 an hour is what an average nanny makes, and I was well under that. And there was just this hardship of me pouring my heart and soul into this family, but having these moments where there was miscommunication. And I come from a household which speaking up for yourself was not welcomed. So learning to finding my voice is part of my story, and being able to stand up for myself is part of my entrepreneurship story. But here, unfortunately, the relationship failed in this position I had after about a year, and I decided to learn everything I could about how to advocate for nannies and what nannies, the laws, the rules and regulations on household staff, what's expected, and also how to speak up for myself and learn communication skills that I didn't have before. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and I decided that I really felt like taking that and then also my passion for investing in the next generation, combining that, I decided to start a nanny agency. So I started the Littles Nanny Agency in 2015, and it was not what I thought it would be, but I think that's the story of entrepreneurship. Sure. Just kind of failing and then starting over and failing and starting over until you learn. Right. And so I had started the Littles Nanny Agency, and with the heart to invest in those that are investing in the next generation. Okay. So that, in my mind, being nannies, I really have I have this mindset that I really feel like nannies have a unique ability to impact the next generation in a positive way, and not just the next generation, but family units as a whole. Sure. I feel like families don't accept help as often as they should, and I think having a nanny in your home can be extremely helpful on so many levels, including helping form strong marriages as well, because you have the time to focus on each other. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I had started that company, and this local agency heard I had started. We had connected through social media, and they called me up one day and asked me to join their team. Okay. And so I thought about it, and it was a really tough decision. This was my baby. Like, giving my company up was really tough, but I did, and I joined their team. And I don't regret being on their team, but I will say that I guess we just had different visions and values, and I really truly I know I'm supposed to have my own agency. And so after about a year, I left, and I started Family First Travel Nannies with more knowledge of how to run a company. Was much more involved in the nanny community than I was before, and a part of national. There's the International Nanny Association and the Association of Premier Nanny Agencies. They have conferences every year, so I go to those. And so with that knowledge, with the knowledge from the agency I worked for before, and my passion, I left and started again. And so it'll be a year, April 18th, which is my birthday, actually, next week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And congratulations, 1 year.
Thank you so much. So yes, I'm really excited to celebrate year one. It has not been easy, but it has been worth it all.
Excellent. That's a great introduction.
Thanks.
So let's touch on a couple things. And
Sure.
I think a lot of you watching or listening to the show on the radio think of nannies as kind of like a babysitter, but someone more full-time, more gets to know the family. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting you start the business not based on needing to hire a nanny for your own children, but by being an employee of a nanny company.
Yes.
So it kind of gave you a different perspective as to what changes need to be made or how you can make being nannies better.
Sure.
So being a parent now, correct?
I am not. I have a cat.
You have a cat. Okay, being a parent
I love
of a cat.
him very much.
And you have to hire a nanny for your cat.
Right.
I guess, so give me feedback from other families as to why they hire a nanny. Because some people may be watching and say, hey, we hire babysitters when we go out, but we don't really have, I'm not sure what it costs for a nanny, or what's the difference between a nanny and a babysitter. Kind of help the viewers and listeners understand some of the services nannies provide that maybe a babysitter would not.
Okay. So typically a nanny is someone that's going to come in. They're really an extension of your family.
Okay.
A babysitter, I love babysitters. I was a babysitter since I was literally 12 years old. But there is a difference. Babysitters typically come in, they help you maybe in the evenings if you're going on a date night or you have an event to go to. And nanny is, like I said before, an extension of your family. So they're coming in and they're taking the kids to school, dropping them off. Maybe they're helping out with the children's laundry. Okay. Sometimes nannies, depending on the pay rate, they'll help with meal prep, picking up, maybe you have clothes at the laundry, maybe picking them up from the dry cleaners. So you can have like a well-balanced, it's a helper. It's another helpmate in the house. Okay. So they can do all of these extra things, but their main priority is the children. Okay. And so they'll come in and really having a nanny, especially the type of nannies we place, they're going to be engaging and proactive with the children. You can leave and go to work and not stress. You know that someone's at your home that cares about your children maybe just as much as you do. It's really tough for parents to understand that, but we fall in love with these kids and we would do anything for them. I still nanny 2 days a week, so that's why I said we. Yes. So it's and a nanny is definitely paid more than a babysitter. I would say in the Charlotte area, I mentioned 15 to 25 an hour. The type of nannies we place, they're typically 18 to 25 an hour. Mm-hmm. Very experienced and, again, proactive and engaging. And when I'm looking to help a family hire a nanny, I really have found over the years that there's 4 things that you need to look for. Okay. And it's what I look for when I'm interviewing candidates. But humility is super important, integrity, excellent communication skills, and a hunger for growth. So I feel like when you have those 4 things, you are going to have a much more successful nanny-family relationship. Okay. Because if anyone's listening that has a nanny, you may know that it's an extremely personal thing. They're in your home. I mean, I've seen dads and moms walking around in their underwear. Like, we see everything. Right. It like, just I know. I'm like, I'm still working. They're like, they can't even. They're so sleep deprived that they just don't even remember. Like, right. Oh yeah, I should put clothes on. Right. But
don't mind me.
Right. Don't mind me. But it's true. It happens all the time. But you are ingrained in their family. A lot of times you even have their credit cards and you have access to all sorts of personal information, so you can help assist them. And so it's extremely personal, but it's also business. It's a job. So navigating that is really tough. And so that's where I come in, and I really when I'm interviewing families and nannies, we talk about their communication styles. So we talk about how they communicate with each other, and when I'm listening on both sides, if I'm listening to a nanny or a family, I can tell if they're going to be a good match, because they may or may not have the best communication skills for that particular family or nanny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I guess I'm sure people watching or listening are always trying to figure out, okay, well, the dad works, the mom works, and maybe we have a newborn child, or maybe we have a toddler child that goes to preschool a couple days a week. It's hard to juggle everything. It becomes stressful to the relationship, and it becomes stressful to the kids. And a lot of them just don't know, how do you go about hiring a nanny? Is there a process? Like, how would they find you? Is there a website they can find you? Is it something they can Google? Or how do they decide which is the best nanny company to even hire? So can you help us kind of go through what makes your nanny company better or more experienced or more eligible to take care of my family, for example?
Sure, absolutely. So I would say one thing about us is, yes, we're young, but I've had a lot of experience, like I mentioned previously, with other agencies and talking with families. But what makes us different is I was talking with my friend earlier, this is more than a business to me. This is my heart and soul pouring into families to help create stability for them. Okay. I grew up in an unstable household, and so it's really my heart to help families have a more stability. I moved 6 times to 6 different states by the time I was 13, and more after that. But I'm thankful Charlotte's my home now. I've been here for over 10 years. But anyways, so what's a bit different is that I'm not just here to take your credit card, find you a nanny, put a warm body in your house, and you have a nice day. For me, this is very personal. This is something that the nanny that I'm putting in your home is going to impact your family in a positive way. And I want to help beyond the placement. So I'm going to go into your home. I'm going to get to know your family, understand what your family values are, what's important to you, what's important to your children, and then create a job description. And then I'll go, and I call it my nanny network. I go to my nanny network and start screening nannies. They fill out a really in-depth application, and then they will be interviewed by my assistant. They'll do kind of a pre-screening just to make sure that they match all of our requirements. And then we call 3 professional child care references, character reference, and then they get to speak with me. So I meet with them in person and get to really get to know them. And with 13 years of experience as a nanny, I can really pull out the things that I see are positive or maybe negative in our conversation. I can pick up on things if they're maybe being a little too prideful or that doesn't fit our mold, or maybe if they're I'm trying to think, maybe I can tell if they don't have the best communication skills or things like that. I can help train them to be better, but you can also know when someone's not willing to, that's where hunger for growth comes. If they're not willing to grow, then I can't help them be a better nanny or candidate. So it's really just finding those things as a nanny that I've seen in myself or other nannies that are, that's positive, and trying to pull that out of the nannies I'm interviewing. So then we create a profile for the family of the nannies we've interviewed, send it to them, and then they interview the candidates. And beyond, once they pick a nanny that they feel will fit with their family, that's not the end of it. So I will be here for as long as they need me. If we can help with a contract, just to kind of make things neat before the nanny starts, that everything is lined out, the expectations are up front. I think that helps with expectations in the long run. So that's the process, but beyond that, there's the support. So again, I've been on the phone with countless moms in tears before and after. Not after. We make the tears go away, but right. But before placements, and just them being in frantic mode and really just being a sounding board for them to know that they're not alone is really important to me, to make them feel like, again, that they're not alone, that they're going to get through this, and hopefully we can be the ones to help them through this. So again, after the placement, I'm here for the families, and it's just really, I'm actually, again, our 1-year anniversary is coming up, and I still talk to some of our first clients. They comment on all my posts on Facebook and check in and make sure everything's okay, and it's special. So it's more investing in the families' lives is what I feel like makes us different. And then also you can go to our website. It's www.familyfirsttravelnannies.com, and we're also on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm still learning, so but yeah.
Excellent. So how does once they're hired, is it a period of time, a contract, or is it a set period of time they have to hire the nanny for, or how does that work out exactly?
Well, it depends on the type of nanny or the type of position you're looking for. So we started out as doing temp and travel. So we're based in Charlotte, but we've assisted families nationwide. We have a lot of clients in New York and Connecticut that travel quite often. So we started out with just temp and travel, and so nannies would travel on business trips or maybe stay back at the home while families went on vacation or business trips to to keep things in order at the
Right.
house. But as we grew, our families were asking for more services. So now we offer, everything from after-school care to summer care, long-term care. So really it depends on what the family's looking for. If it's a regular long-term position, it's typically a year contract.
Okay.
And when you work with us, we have a 60-day guarantee. So if the nanny doesn't work out within the first 60 days, it's never happened before. But we will replace the nanny for free.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so it helps people understand that the roles of the nanny, how important it is to have a great fit. But ultimately, it takes a lot of diving in, a lot of investigation to figure out, okay, here's the family, here's how they are, here's what they value, here's what they're looking for.
Yep.
Managing those expectations. The nanny
Yes.
does this, the nanny does this, the nanny doesn't do this.
Right.
And then trying to find that perfect person to fit. And I think the fact that you're allowing them to meet and interview themselves and they pick out the right person for the family, I think is also very important. So that's excellent.
Yes.
Well, very good. Well, tell us more about the business side. Give us an example of a learning point. Obviously, you said you worked for 2 different companies, maybe even 3 different companies before you